Coming together is a beginning. Keeping together is progress. Working together is success. Whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're right. Quality means doing it right when no one is looking. Failure is simply the opportunity to begin again, this time more intelligently. Don't find fault, find a remedy. If you always do what you've always done, you'll always get what you've always got. Chop your own wood, and it will warm you twice. The only real security that a man can have in this world is a reserve of knowledge, experience, and ability. Money is like an arm or leg. Use it or lose it. You can't build a reputation on what you are going to do. Obstacles are those frightful things you see when you take your eyes off your goal. Anyone who stops learning is old, whether at 20 or 80. Anyone who keeps learning stays young. Thinking is the hardest work there is, which is probably the reason why so few engage in it. There is no man living who isn't capable of doing more than he thinks he can do. The only thing worse than training your employees and having them leave is not training them and having them stay. If there is any one secret of success, it lies in the ability to get the other person's point of view and see things from that person's angle as well as from your own. An idealist is a person who helps other people to be prosperous. A business that makes nothing but money is a poor business. Wealth, like happiness, is never attained when sought after directly. It comes as a byproduct of providing a useful service. The competitor to be feared is one who never bothers about you at all, but goes on making his own business better all the time. One of the greatest discoveries a person makes is to find they can do what they were afraid they couldn't do. The highest use of capital is not to make more money, but to make money do more for the betterment of life. You don't have to hold a position in order to be a leader. Don't just find fault, find a remedy. Anyone can complain. A market is never saturated with a good product, but it is very quickly saturated with a bad one. Vision without execution is just hallucination. The air is full of ideas. They are knocking you in the head all the time. You only have to know what you want, then forget it and go about your business. Suddenly the idea will come through. It was there all the time. The man who will use his skill and constructive imagination to see how much he can give for $1, instead of how little he can give for $1, is bound to succeed. There is joy in work. There is no happiness except in the realization that we have accomplished something. A business absolutely devoted to service will have only one worry about profits. They will be embarrassingly large. To do more for the world than the world does for you, that is success. The only real mistake is the one from which we learn nothing. A bore is a person who opens his mouth and puts his feet in it. The question, who ought to be the boss, is like asking who ought to be the tenor in the quartet. Obviously the man who can sing tenor. I cannot discover that anyone knows enough to say what is and what is definitely not possible. Thinking well is wise, planning well, wiser, doing well is the wisest and best of all. The shortest distance between 2 points is a straight line, but it is not the only path. Success comes from keeping the ears open and the mouth closed. The only limitations one has are the ones they place on themselves. The best way is always the simplest. The attics of the world are cluttered up with complicated failures. The golden rule for every businessman is this: put yourself in your customer's place. Your time is your biggest asset. You need to be very careful how you use it. You can't learn in school what the world is going to do next year. If you do things that are easy, your life will be hard. But if you do things that are hard, your life will be easy. The competitor to be feared is one who never bothers about you, but goes on making his own business better. An organization that stands still soon gets into the rut of business mediocrity. The world is filled with willing people, some willing to work, the rest willing to let them. There is no such thing as can't. You can do it if you believe you can. I believe God is managing affairs and that He doesn't need any advice from me. With God in charge, I believe everything will work out for the best in the end. Before everything else, getting ready is the secret of success. Employers only handle the money. It is the customer who pays the wages. There is one rule for the industrialist, and that is, make the best quality goods possible at the lowest cost possible, paying the highest wages possible. If I had asked people what they wanted, they would have said faster horses. Most people spend more time and energy going around problems than in trying to solve them. Time and money spent in helping men to do more for themselves is far better than mere giving. The best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. The second best time is now. Success is 99% failure. If everyone is moving forward together, then success takes care of itself. I don't know much about the law, but I do know there's one thing I can say for it, that it's not a strong hand to hold a man down with. It's a strong hand to lift a man up with. I don't know much about the law, but I know the difference between justice and injustice. Don't find fault, find a remedy. Anybody can complain. Enthusiasm is at the bottom of all progress. With it, there is accomplishment. Without it, there are only alibis. The greatest day in your life and mine is when we take total responsibility for our attitudes. That's the day we truly grow up. The way to learn to do things is to do things. The way to learn a trade is to work at it. Success teaches how to succeed. Begin with the determination to succeed, and the work is half done already. I don't think it is a good thing to have a fear of fear. People who don't live through a fear have lost a great many thrills. My best friend is the one who brings out the best in me. It is not the employer who pays wages. He only handles the money. It is the product that pays the wages. The greatest thing we can produce is character. Everything else may be bought or sold. When everything seems to be going against you, remember that the airplane takes off against the wind, not with it. Opportunity is missed by most people because it is dressed in overalls and looks like work. One of the greatest discoveries a person makes, one of their great surprises, is to find they can do what they were afraid they couldn't do. The competitor to be feared is one who never bothers about you at all, but goes on making his own business better all the time. Thinking is the hardest work there is, which is probably the reason so few engage in it. The only thing worse than training employees and losing them is not training them and keeping them.